What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 with me, the Virtual Mechanic, and today's beautiful project, this Land Rover Defender. This is the Utility Edition. It's a bit... It's there. It's a big 4x4 off-roader. That's what we're going with today. And something a little bit different because we won't be taking this beast onto the drag strip. We'll be going to a workshop map that is a gravel forest track that looks pretty exciting. I have had a little bit of test. Make sure I can drive it. So that's where we'll be going with this one later. You do a flying lap, you do a standing start lap, sorry, and then a flying lap. And we'll see how fast we can get our flying laps. And then we're going to do 3 off-road vehicles this week and then compare their times to each other. That's what we're going to do. No drag racing for an entire week. And do you guys think about that? Excited? Don't like it? Let me know in the comments below. Let's get started with this one. Let's get into it. As I said, it's the Land Rover Defender. It's the Utility Edition, and it's in awful condition when we picked it up from the auction house. Did I get a good deal? I did not, but not far off. I'll take that. 7,263 is what we paid, and we could sell it for 6,588, losing out on 675. But there'll be no drag tournament winnings, so hopefully we can just claw that back in the price for our Land Rover Defender when we come to sell it. The engine in this one is the V8 single overhead cam FME engine with 222 factory horsepower. We're going to keep that one in there. It's an engine I don't work with very often. Plus, we don't want to make this too overpowered for working on for driving it around a gravel track in the forest. I think that might be a little bit too much. So there we go. This is the project for today. Let's get it started. Let's get this filthy Land Rover over to the car wash. Let's get it cleaned up. Here we are then in the car wash with the filthy Defender. Let's get it cleaned and see what it's got going on underneath. Looks like the YouTube logo just there. I'm sure that's not what that is. I'm sure that just needs repairing and that will disappear. But there we go. Lovely red colour on there. Not what we're going to be sticking with today, but it looks cool nonetheless. So let's get the interior done. Let's get this Defender back on the lift. Get that engine ripped out of there. And get everything else stripped down. The Defender's up in the air. Let's look for that chunky oil pan, which is definitely there. So there we go. Let's just go and get that drained out. Was it well looked after? Absolutely not. Battered around offline, as it should be. Offline? I meant to say off-road, but there we go. Different worlds meeting there, colliding in the middle. But let's get in underneath and see what we've got. This is 4-wheel drive, so I think, what are we going to need to take out? We're definitely going to need these multiple drive shafts. That one doesn't connect to anything, but never mind. So out you come here. Nice and simple. One there, and then another one just there with this drive shaft, if I can get it. We'll get the top bolts on there. Can I take the gearbox out now as long as I get the starter? I can. So that is what we're going to do. We won't worry about the other drive shaft for the moment. Too many rusty bolts on this one. There we go. And there we go. And also while we're here, we will grab the front exhaust sections. And none of that connects. So the rest of that should be all right to rip out, hopefully. So let's get it back down on the ground. Go and grab our wonderful little engine crane. Little sprint over there. Get this one ripped out of here. Are we good enough? We have got everything. That is what I like to see. Let's have a quick jump in and check out this engine bay very, very quickly. We've got the fuse box just here. Wishy-washy reservoir. Radiator fan housing kit. Power steering reservoir. Coolant reservoir. ECU type A. Our lovely little air filter. Brake servo. Battery. Fuel tank and fuel pump. In fact, we'll just grab that and that while we're here. Make sure there's nothing missing. Doesn't look like it. No, fantastic. So now let's get some liquids drained. Right-click, additional tools, drain tool. Click on hold on whichever container you want to drain liquids from, and it'll all drain out. We're going to get the rest of this suspension all cleared out, ready to go. When we come back, it'll be time to work on our beautiful Defender's bodywork. That's everything on the Defender. Repaired, replaced, or upgraded. Ready to go back together. This thing should be a little bit mental, but we need to sort the bodywork out. So let's just jump into it. Off with the front fenders. What have we got here? Nothing there, nothing there. That's the body window. Obviously, it's not because it's a panel, but it still needs a window in there to be finished. Trunk off of view calm. Is the badges anything? Roof anything? There'll be another window. No, that one is missing. Rear fender. Did I miss the fender on the other side? I did not. Keep going around onto the door. And is that actually everything apart from maybe the interior? So let's just jump in and get... No, I can't find a good spot. Get this interior out. Out you come. And out you come there. And is that everything? It doesn't feel right. 1% on that screen. We are missing a car part 2. So I need to figure out what car part 2 is. How am I going to work that one out? I will be back in just a moment. Found it. Car part 2 is the little side skirt step down there. Should have really figured that one out. It was quite obvious, really. But there we go. Nothing now showing on there. 1% on there. Frames at 7%. And I bought the car for a little over 7,000. So I don't think this is going to be quite a lot. I'm going to say, I'm just going to go straight in with 1,000. 700. Still not quite there. Not quite good enough. Into the body shop we go. That's how I managed to figure out what the side skirts were. But there we go. All listed. I'm assuming 1 is left and 2 is right. Or vice versa, whichever way around that is. A few front bumper options to play around with. Probably going to end up going for this one here. That looks very mean and off-road style. Or maybe just the big ram bar. But I like the extra lights on it just for good measure. And we got all the different fenders. Definitely want to use one with the snorkel on it just because it looks awesome. As long as it goes with the rest of the build, it will all depend. A few hood options, a few light options to play with on there as well. Then we got different roof options. I think I'm going to go for one of these ones with the racking or maybe something like that. We'll see how it all turns out a little bit later. Lots of rear bumpers on there as well. Different options for the fenders, depending on what you want to go for. Color-wise, definitely keep that extra wheel on the rear door there. And then we'll see how it goes, getting it back together. So that's all of that. Quite well listed in there. Everything sort of makes a little bit of sense. So we need to get ours all back together and then get this little beast into the paint shop to see what colours we're going to go for on this one today. Time to get our Defender all back together before we get it in the paint shop and decide what we're going to do with it today. So one with Hood B, which I swapped to the one with the black lettering on there. Then we've got the front fenders and the front fender with a snorkel on that side, looking good there. Headlights are just the blacked out ones, looking pretty good. And no, I want the front end is just the front end B. Looks quite nice on there, sort of fitting in. Then we got that front bumper, which has got all the bash cages and the extra lights on there, looking pretty good. Car part 1, which is the side skirts. We've gone with the side step with the metal back to front on my controls for a minute there, with the metal plating on there, with a vent in there and the lovely antenna up there. Don't know why I ran backwards. It felt like a good idea at the time. On with the door, window and mirror. There we go. We'll get that windshield in and this lovely rear clamshell, which is actually the roof rack and sunroof in there. That looks absolutely incredible. Very menacing on there. Rear fender on you go. We do need to get the body windows in as well. Tail lights, there aren't any options for them. 2 on one side, 3 on the other with the extra reversing light on that side. Rear bumper in you go. Then we've got that big old trunk, which we managed to repair with the wheel cover on it. In with the rear window. Fender on this side, window on this side, door. Let's get the side skirt / step on there. Window and mirror. And that should be all of the bodywork. Apart from license plates. For the license plates today, we've gone for our VM plates with off course. Obviously, we couldn't fit the E on the end. Too many letters, so we just abbreviated it ever so slightly. Forgot where the other one went just for a moment there, but there we go. Off course is what we've gone for this beautiful Land Rover Defender. Let's get in and sort the interior out. We have gone for Defender interior, obviously. Both Defender seats and the lovely little Defender steering wheel in there. Just to really finish this one off, as is a Land Rover Defender. Looking absolutely beautiful. Have we got everything? 100%, 100%, 100%. Let's get this thing into the paint shop and give it some colour. Here's what we've gone for then for our off-course Land Rover Defender. This beautiful camel livery by RobG. We have changed it ever so slightly. We've given it the white roof from previous liveries on there, rather than keeping it the green coloured roof. I think it looks pretty good. We also tried to match this green in here with the Land Rover logo green. Very, very close on that one. Probably not quite exact, but depending on what sort of screen you're looking at it through. It is very close indeed. Really liking that. The engine bay is very green. I think we're going to keep sort of a green, black and white theme with the odd splash of yellow. Probably not going to use too much green in the engine bay, maybe more so underneath because it's quite dark down here. Liking that though, looking good. So yeah, we got plenty of colours to play around with on this beast. Body's all painted, looking fantastic. We just opened the doors, we kept the Defender seats and gave them mostly a green on the outside, keeping that white bit go in line with the green and white on there. And we just blacked out the steering wheel, take some of that greyness out of it. And yeah, this is all looking absolutely fantastic. So we're going to get this one back on the lift. I'm going to get all the suspension and engine stuff painted. Then we can start getting this one all back together. Everything's painted for the off-course Land Rover Defender. So let's get into it. Starting with the shocks. We've got green shocks, yellow springs, and the green caps on there. Kind of going in with the green and yellow of the livery. Looking quite nice on there. So let's start getting some of it in and see how it turns out. We got the front drive axle M in a cheeky little white on there. The steering rack's in a green just in front of it, looking pretty good. Then we've got the steering knuckle in a black. Swing around to the back, and then you've got the E-ring on there. It needs to be bolted up in just a little white, just to keep it sort of flowing, looking quite good on there. Inner tie rods in a black, and the outer tie rods in a cheeky white, looking nice. Then we've got the control arm, which is in that camel yellow, with the leaf spring plate in a green, and the two U-bolts, both just in a little black, looking quite good on there. Very pleased with them. On you go. Rubber bushing, in we go before I forget you. Nicely done. And then let's get that beautiful shock on that we've already seen in its green and yellow. I love that. I think that looks fantastic on there. Wheel hub is in a white, along with the front drive axle in a black. Brake disc, on you go. A brake pad. And then the last piece is just a brake caliper, which is in a lighter version of that green. But because of how it works out, it sort of blends in quite nicely in there, looking pretty good. Let's get down the back. Let's get some of this all together. Scroll away a little bit. Same setup as the front, with the main axle being in a white there. The knuckle is in a black, but it doesn't have a black plate, so we don't get to put that in white. But the spring cap and the spring setup is all the same as it is at the front. A green, a yellow, a green. Looking good on there, with the actual shock being in the same green as the plastic shock parts at the front. Solid axle control arms in a yellow with a green plate and black U-bolts, as we've already seen. So let's just get them all in. And I do realise I just need to get a rubber bushing in that's hiding from me there before I forget it. In you go, and bolt it up. Wheel hub in the white with the solid rear drive axle in another black, exactly the same as the front. Looking very good on there. Let's get it all in and get all of this buttoned up and ready to go. Look at that. I think that green looks fantastic. As I said, it is brighter, much, much brighter, but you can fiddle around with the colours a little bit and get them to blend in. The fuel tank is in that green with the fuel pump in that sort of camel yellow on there. That's looking pretty good so far. So I'm going to crack on and get the other side all done. Then we'll move on to the engine bay, and then that silly, silly V8 engine, which looks awesome, but not quite how I wanted it to. There's the suspension all finished, looking very John Deere, if I do say so, in all honesty. Wasn't the intended combination, but it looks pretty good nonetheless. Mostly in white with green and yellow, and the odd little splash of black in there. Looking pretty good, but let's get on and get this engine bay sorted. The fuse box is already in. Green base, white cover. The air filter is exactly the same. A green base with a lovely white lid or cover on it. And then around the edge of this one, we've got some lovely yellow clip A's just to really finish that one off. Add a little extra splash of that yellow onto there, liking that. Then we've got the ECU, the coolant reservoir, the power steering reservoir in there, along with the wishy-washy reservoir and the brake servo just up there. Where's the battery? I've forgotten where you live, just down here. Let's get you in now, and let's swing back up around and get that radiator in. I've just blacked it out for this one. The fan housing kit's officially in a green with two chrome black fans on there. You can really see it's not really that visible, the green, but you can still see it's a bit of green nonetheless. We open that up and have a look. Loving the green with the white top, sort of very fitting with the theme of the car. Looking quite nice on there. And then the yellow clips going in with a little camel logo. Looking nice. Let's go and build this beautiful, beautiful V8. I've already got the heads on. They're in a lovely green. The blocks in a black with the oil pan just in a little white down there. The reason why I've already got all of this in, or some of it already in, is just to save a little bit of time. So we've already got the heads and the camshafts on. Now the camshafts get one big camshaft cap, so there's two of these in total. Then you've got 4 spark plugs that sit just off the side of the engine head a little bit, and the ignition coils, there we go, just go on top of them. So there's 4 in total, 8 in total for the whole thing, looking very, very good. So I'm going to crack on and get all of that in, but before we do that, let's do some of the front. We've got the alternator on here, just in a cheeky little black. We can get the cam gears on because we already have the camshafts in, so we'll get you on, and then we can get the timing chains in. In you go, and in you go, along with a lovely pair of shoes on there, just to keep them timing chains nice and taut, nice and tight, ready to go. Then the water pump is in a cheeky little yellow just on the front there for that camel yellow effect, with the water pump pulley just in a black. We do the timing cover now as well, which is in that body coloured green, or as close as I could get it to that body coloured green, should we say. So let's get you all bolted up and in. There we go. Before we move on to this, we're going to crack on. I'm going to get all of these bits in here done, and then we'll move on to that front. There we go. All of the innards, fiddly bits done already. And we've also got the idle rollers and that crankshaft pulley on down there. So let's get the power steering pump just in a lovely little white. Looking pretty good down there. Oil filter is in that yellow. And then if we spin around, we've got the fuel filter up here. Also in that yellow. We'll get the timing belt on, serpentine belt on, should I say. And then a belt tensioner just in a cheeky little white on the front there, finishing that off. Now, I said just a minute ago when we were doing the suspension, the engine looks great, but not how I wanted it to. These heads, I wanted these in white, but they are the type of plastic that is impossible to paint unless you chrome it. And obviously you can't chrome white. They didn't look right in the chrome green or the chrome yellow, so we just went with a little black on there. Again, wasn't what I wanted at all. I wanted that white. It wasn't going to happen. So we then changed our plans, and then I wanted this bit white. That also didn't happen. The only way you could do that was to force chrome it. But I have left it in a white because it's got a black top with a cheeky little white bit on the front. So it still looks pretty good nonetheless. Still quite pleased with how it turned out. Then we've got all these ignition coils. These are just in a force chrome green because that really is the only way to get a colour other than black onto these ignition coils. For the time being, at least anyway. Then we got the fuel rails. These are in white. They were originally meant to be a yellow, but because of the lack of white I could get up here, I needed some more white. So I also did the throttle in a white as well. Didn't really know what colour this was going to be in my original plan, but this was meant to be white and this was meant to be yellow. But before that, these were meant to be white. So there we go. But we get around it anyway. It still looks pretty good. Then we got these lovely exhaust manifolds, and they are just in a white. For a splash more of that on there. Looking very, very good. Bolted up and in you go. Let's get these in. And let's get this V8 dropped into our beautiful Land Rover Defender. Let's go. Off the stand you come. And let's go get you in. Hopefully this is going to look good inside there. Get you put in. Get the crane put away. And let's take a look. That's not looking bad, actually. Maybe we did the right choice by having the engine like that. Might have been a bit too white if we'd have left it the other way. Let's just go up in the air a little bit. Get a cheeky little look in there with a little bit of torch on it as well, just so we can really see what's going on. That does look pretty good in there. Not quite how I wanted it, but still incredibly pleased with how it turned out in the end. There we go. Let's get you up in the air. We got a few bits to go in underneath. We got the exhaust, some bits of drive shaft, a couple of drive shafts. I don't really, there's two. There's one there and one going further back. So let's get the gearbox in. We have just kept that one in a black, with the starter just in a little camel yellow on there. And then we've got the exhaust in a full white all the way down. If I could press enter on it. Now, only one links up. Lazy. Absolute laziness, Payne. Telling you. But never mind. Still looks good nonetheless. Rear muffle in you go there. But yeah, only one's connected. Bit of a shame on that one, but never mind. So then we've got the front drive axle or drive shaft just in the black there. And then the main rear drive shaft in another little black on there, going into the white rear drive axle. Looking quite good. I think that's everything. Just some wheels to go on now. Liquids to top up. Windows to tint. Let's take a look at this from under here. Well, you can't really see the drive shafts too much, and they do clip a little bit with the exhaust, but it is what it is. I'm liking the rest of that. Very pleased with you. Let's get you down on the ground. We're going to get the windows tinted, liquids topped up, wheels done. Get this beautiful Land Rover outside in the sun. Well, there she is then, all finished with Payne's beautiful off-course Land Rover Defender. Obviously, we've named it ourselves, of course. That's not what he calls this one. This one is the utility Land Rover Defender. Looking absolutely fantastic. Loving it. What do you guys think? Do let me know in the comments below. But let's talk about these rims. I've gone for the Land Rover Defender rims because why wouldn't I? They make perfect sense. All four rims are exactly the same size. They're an 18-inch rim, 265 width, with a 65 profile on there, and no ET needed. Looking absolutely fantastic. Very, very, very pleased with how this one turned out. It is looking great. As I said, all four wheels are the same size, but let's jump inside, check out this beautiful interior. The Defender seats with a bit of that body matched green on there, and then just a blacked out Defender steering wheel. Inside looks beautiful. We already know, we've seen this one before. Excellent job by Payne. Let's get it started and hear that V8. Nice sort of mean sounding grumble there. Let's give it some gas. Definitely a bit meanier, a bit whinier up at that top end. Liking that. We're not going to the drag strip today. We're doing a bit of off-roading, but we still need to get to the dyno, see what the horsepower is and what the gearbox tuning setup's going to be for this one. And we might as well check out the drag rating while we're there. On the dyno with the Land Rover Defender and its V8 engine with 222 factory horsepower. How much have we added today? And what will its drag rating be? Although we're not even drag racing. So let's take a look. A gain of 184 horsepower, 83%. Obviously, compared to our drag race builds that we normally do, this is almost nothing. But 406 horsepower for an off-road vehicle is pretty good. Drag rating, if we were going to go of C, 229, so we would be very, very low down in the drag ratings. I don't think we'd get some very decent drag races out of this one, but never mind, because that's not what we're doing. We're off to a little dirt track. The gearbox tuning setup I've gone for this little dirt track is something like this. I'm still not quite happy with it. We're going to bring 4 down just a little bit more. We're going to bring 5 a little bit closer in, and then up with 6 just a little bit. Don't know how that's going to work because I obviously haven't tested it, but last time I tested, I felt 4 was just a little bit too long, although we spend probably about half a second in 4th gear, so I don't think it's really going to matter anyway, but we do have a fully tuned ECU ready to go. Obviously, no carburetors. Let's get the Land Rover Defender onto a dirt track and see what we can do with it. Bear in mind, I am terrible at racing. Well, here we are then, on the start line in the dirt track. So we just have a quick look around the vehicle while we're here. Which views would you guys like to see better for racing like this? In cabin view or a behind view like that? Which would you prefer? Do let me know in the comments below. For this one, I'm going to stick with my normal and go inside. And we'll see how it goes. If you guys don't like it, next time I do a track like this or a race like this, we'll swap it around. But do let me know in the comments. What we're going to do is I'm going to do a standing start lap. And then we're going to come back in for the flying lap. And any funny bits that happen in the meantime, I'll definitely include. So let's get going. And we're away. Not the very fastest pull off the line there, but not too bad at all, really. Still a quite tight left-hand turn, which I've messed up completely. There we go. Just about recovered that. This is the tight one that I've totally messed up. So there we go. Let's just get this back on the track and try not to miss any checkpoints. Whip it round the corner, off the gas, gonna crash into the tree. There we go. Let's just get back on the road and carry on. There we go. Pretend that one didn't happen. Whoa, up across that straightaway. And then over the start-finish line. Not bad, 156. Right, now we're on our flying laps, so let's go. Brake heavy for the first corner. Get it whipped on around there. Hopefully this will be a better lap. Not doing great up the hill there, but there it is. Down we go, and then into quite a decent left-hand turn. So slam on the brakes there, and then whip it round and back on the gas. Down to the straightaway. Then we got a little jump, but we got to watch the tree on the right-hand side. I've hit that tree more times than I'd like to be honest about. There we go. Oh, almost lost it there, coming off the jump. Up round here, then we got a cheeky little right turn. It's not too bad, but just to make sure we get it with a little bit of brake. And then we got a much harder right turn, which I'd have liked to have whipped a bit more, but we didn't quite make it. Straight away into a hard left that goes almost all the way around. There we go. And now we do start to straighten out just a little bit. I say a little bit. We've got a steady right, which goes into a direct left, straight left, I believe. It is indeed. Again, me remembering the track. Oh, let's get it around. There we go. Down we go. Now we're into sort of the straightaway. We do have a sharp left coming up now with the crest of this rock. There we go. Let's get it whipped around there. There we go. Now we're on the final stage of this one. It's not too hard from here as long as you make that turn there. Don't hit them trees. There we go. Cheeky little right around we go there. Back on the gas. Keep going. Slight left. Oh, I've cut it. Oh, that was close to almost hitting the tree. Keep going around to the left, and then we've got a cheeky right coming up. Let's get around that without too many incidents, or any incidents. That was my best corner. We've taken a bollard with us, though. Is that slowing us down? And we've gone across the line. 1:48.141 from our Land Rover Defender. First one for our 4x4 challenge. What do you think? My racing is appalling. I'm already aware of that. But let's get back to the garage and see if we can make some money from our beautiful little Land Rover Defender. Well, there we are, all finished with the beautiful Land Rover Defender Utility Edition, looking fantastic. Giving it a go on the dirt track instead of the drag strip. What did you all think of my first sort of actual track race? that you've realistically seen on this channel. We did a 156.906 on the standing start lap, and then a 1 of 48.141 on that flying lap. So it's not too bad at all. Quite pleased with this one, in all honesty. Let's talk some facts and figures about this beautiful Land Rover Defender. Now, I bought the vehicle for $7,263 at the very beginning of this episode and could have sold it at a small loss of $675, but we didn't do that. We then spent another $68,539 upgrading, tuning, modifying, painting, getting this beautiful Land Rover to how you see it here right now, with a total spend of $75,802. The question is, will we be able to make a profit from this beautiful Land Rover Defender? All 100% finished. Absolutely love seeing that in our beautiful utility edition, with that engine ramped up to 406 horsepower, a gain of 83% from the 222 at the factory. We spent 75,802. Can we make some money? We can indeed. Not very much, but money is money nonetheless. 103,255 is our sale price. Leaves us with was 27,453. So not too bad at all from this beautiful Land Rover Defender, modded in by Payne. Absolutely fantastic job. Link in the description below. Also, I'll link this livery in the description below by RobG, because he's done a fantastic job of this one. It doesn't come with a white top. That is an addition I added myself. Really easy to do if you want to do that. But it is time to say goodbye to the beautiful Land Rover Defender. Off you go with our cheeky little bit of profit. What have we got up next? We're sticking with the 4x4 theme and its competition entry time. So here is our beautiful off-road G-Wagon with a few little additional details. We'll talk about a couple of them quite now. We've obviously got this skid pan, rub pan, I don't know what you want to call it, bash plate on the front there, looking pretty sweet. We do have another one down the back as well, looking pretty cool. Pleased with that. Then on the underside, as none of this connects, we've done loads of strut bars, connecting it all in, even another steel plate connecting this one to the frame, making sure those are attached. And then down the back, in fact, we can't do it from here, so we'll go into camera mode very quickly and just sneak on underneath. We've got another strut bar there on that, and then a couple of strut bars holding the shocks onto the frame, and then up onto the frame up there. That's what we've gone for. There are a few additional bits all around this car. It does look pretty insane. Looking forward to this one, but let's jump in and have a look. It is obviously the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. We've called it the VM G63 4x4. It does have a twin-turbo V8 in there with 1,101 horsepower. And, yeah, that's pretty wild. It's going to be pretty mental on that track, but we might not be able to beat it. Just because we've got loads more power doesn't mean we're going to be able to get a time down at 1:48. You'll have to tune in at next time for that one. Anyway, did we get a good deal on this one? We did. Surprise, surprise, shock, horror. Almost lost for words for a moment there, but it's me, so definitely not. 48,775 is what we paid, and I can sell it for 55,263, making a profit of 6,493 before we even begin this beautiful G-Wagon. That's going to be it for today's video, though. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to tune in on Wednesday to see this beautiful G-Wagon build looking stunning. What did you think of our first 4x4 off-road build? Do let me know in the comments below. Also, leave a cheeky little like if you enjoyed it. Smash that subscribe button if you want to see more crazy builds like this. We're sticking with the 4x4 theme all week in Car Mechanic Simulator 2021. So come and join us back on Wednesday, then again on Friday. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, whatever you're getting up to. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.